parallel. Today we're here to remember and reflect not only what we lost, but the extraordinary gift we received on that day, the gift of one country. It was not a gift based on accomplishment or arrogance, but a genuine sense of loss. It was a gift causing all of us to stand for something that can't be taken away, our freedom. Today, I believe the celebration of America's spirit should be called a Jubilee, for a Jubilee means joy for all, a time for celebrating, an occasion for looking back with pride. Do you remember where you were on the morning of September 11, 2001? Do you remember what you were doing when you first heard the news of the attacks on our nation? September 11th was an absolutely perfect day. It was cloudless all along the East Coast, high 60s to the low 70s, and the air was clean. It was just another day for 50,000 workers and visitors starting to arrive at the World Trade Center. Long lines of commuters started filling the parking lots at the Pentagon. And at Leisure World, some people were just starting to wake up, while others were already sipping their coffee at the popular Blue Ridge Coffee Flats Club. In our Blue Ridge home, my wife Shirley was watching television about 9 a.m. as a young technician was installing room darkening film on our windows. She couldn't believe her eyes as she watched the horrible scene before her as two hijacked planes smashed into the World Trade Towers in New York. One crashed into the Pentagon and one crashed into Pennsylvania Field. She called the technician into the living room, and he immediately panicked because his wife worked at the Pentagon. As he tried to contact his wife via cell phone, Shirley called my office and HUD headquarters in downtown D.C. and told me about the attacks. I immediately went in and told my boss, HUD Secretary Andy Cuomo, of her call, and we went into our disaster response mode, in which we took a team of specialists to an undisclosed location in case all our federal buildings were destroyed. From that day on, until I retired in 2005, whenever I rode the Metro, I always rode in the first car. I never rode in any car but the first car, because I figured if anybody was going to set off a bomb, it would be under the Potomac River. And at least if I was in the first car, I might have a chance. In my briefcase, I carried a flashlight, I carried a first aid kit, I carried a two-way radio, and I carried my weapon. Thank God I never had to use it. Our oldest daughter was scheduled to speak at a conference on the upper floor of the World Trade Center on 9/11. And then she was going to go to Chicago to repeat for a second visit. 2 days before 9/11, for reasons which we will never understand, she went to Chicago first, and that probably saved her life. On the same day, my Huron Indian cousin and her husband had driven down to New York from our Huron reservation in Canada, and they were going to make a presentation about the Huron Indian artifacts. They were on the 60th floor of the World Trade Center. They had just started to lay out their artifacts when the Twin Towers were hit. They found a stairway, and they ran down 60 flights in smoking hallways. They went out onto the sidewalk just as the building started to collapse. Now, historically, when Indian people are in danger, they always seek the nearest water to escape. So my cousin and her husband ran from the World Trade Towers all the way to the harbor. They found a boat going to New Jersey. They rented a car, and they drove back to the reservation where it took them months to recover from their near-death experience. Our youngest daughter and her husband, both paramedic firefighters and members of the Montgomery County Search and Rescue Team, had just arrived home from their 24-hour shift when they were called back to their station, and they were sent to the Pentagon, where they spent the next 48 hours. Although hardened by years of seeing death of all kinds, our daughter told us she will never forget what she saw inside that aircraft that went through the wall at the Pentagon on that day. So you can see 9/11 has had quite an impact on my family. On that day, 2,000 children lost a parent. 65 babies started their day without a father. 2,996 people lost their lives, including 343 New York City firefighters, 60 police officers, 146 children lost a parent at the Pentagon, and 6,000 plus people were treated for injuries. In the following days, there was a lot of emptiness in many New York City fire stations. The mournful sound of bagpipes playing Amazing Grace, day after day after day. Wives and loved ones praying that their families would be found alive. The scenes on television grew all too familiar, didn't they? A young widow's tears, a young child clutching a firefighter's helmet, a child starting her life without a father. In the following months, 65 babies were born, with many lost husbands never realizing that they were to be a father. Never in history has fate been so cruel to a fire and rescue department. That morning will live in our individual memories for our lifetimes and in our national memories forever. Do you remember the months after 9/11 when we were all Americans, independents, Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives? We were one America, ready to defend our shores and stand shoulder to shoulder in support of our men and women of the military. Now, in the year 2013, we argue, did 9/11 really change everything or nothing? We can argue the nation is more united, or is it? We can argue that we are more secure, but are we? Throughout this entire transformation, there's been one constant. We're a free people, and we intend to stay that way. All over America today, there are ceremonies marking the anniversary of 9/11. In my home state of New Hampshire, they have an annual ceremony that is a bit unusual. Hikers will be climbing to the summit of all 48 of the 4,000-foot tall mountains in New Hampshire, and they will raise an American flag in observance of 9/11. From noon until 2 p.m. today, 48 flags will fly from the tallest peaks in the state of New Hampshire, reminding all that it's a day never to forget. You know what? Patriotism is no longer no less a virtue in 2013 than it was in 1774. Those among us who are convinced of this fact, we should do everything we can to influence the environment we're now living in. Our young people can be taught respect just as well as they can learn disrespect. I fear for the future today when there is encouragement of all those who may be classified as underprivileged that somebody owes them a living. That unlimited government spending will cure most of our economic and social ills. It doesn't take a great mind to point out what we should be doing. We should be enforcing our laws. We should be balancing the budget. We should restrict taxation to the job of raising revenue, not reforming society. I consider myself lucky to have been born an American. By chance or fate, I was already blessed at birth with an impossible dream. I know my talk today is probably a little old-fashioned for some folks, but I have to tell you, all my life, I dreamt of growing up and taking my place in society and trying to leave my country better than my parents left it to me. I guess I'm still an old patriotic fool, because no matter where I am, I stand up and take my hat off when that flag passes by. I still get a lump in my throat when I hear band play our Star-Spangled Banner. And I know I get a little emotional when I hear folks sing God Bless America. And you know something? I'm not one bit ashamed of it, because I know I'm paying tribute to the greatest nation on earth today. Being asked to participate in this freedom program today has been an honor and a privilege for me. Thank you to my lifelong friends, Buck and Betty Buckridge, for their continuing efforts to promote patriotism on our campus. It seems like they've done it forever. Buck and I are about the same age, and so we'll probably go out the same way. I want to thank our Leisure World Band. They put in a lot of time to do what they do, and we all appreciate them. I want to thank the Fun and Frolic Singers. I always love hearing them sing. I want to thank the Leisure World Tappers, wherever they disappeared to. They're probably practicing somewhere. And I want to thank each of you for being here today, because what you have showed me today is that you are ready to ensure the spirit of patriotism will always be alive and well on our Leisure World campus. So on that note, I say, God bless you, and God bless this great country of ours.